Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to the Wild Zone. It's Tweak Bigfoot coming at you with another Diablo 3 Great Rift gameplay. Now, in this video, I try and push Great Rift level 75. You'll have to stick around and see if I complete it or not. But in this video, I go for 75, which is my highest, not of all time, but highest back to date. I've recently gotten back into playing Diablo 3 on my Xbox, and I've done okay. I could do a lot better. But with my gear not being fully optimized and the spec that I'm playing, I think the tier that I'm at is pretty good. So, as you'll see the title of this video, I titled it The Problem with Barbarian. Now, before I get into that, let me give you a little disclaimer. Again, this is all my personal input and thoughts. I love Barbarian. It's my favorite Diablo 3 class by far, followed by the Witch Doctor, if anyone's wondering. But Barbarian, I love it. I love its playstyle. I love its reckless charge into battle and go for it kind of playstyle. Now, here's the problem that I think the Barbarian on Diablo 3. Keep in mind, I play on my Xbox primarily. I do have this game on my PC, but this gameplay is recorded on my Xbox. Now, Barbarian, like I said, has a great reckless fly into battle, do whatever you want spec, and for some people that's great. I love it. But here's the thing with the Xbox. In my personal experience, the only tier that I think, or the only spec that works well, I think, is personally Whirlwind. You know, there's higher skilled players than me out there, and maybe they do better. But I've only been able to make the Whirlwind Barb work primarily well. I've put a couple hours into every other Barbarian gameplay style, and I want to make some more efforts at it because I know that I can definitely get better at it. But Barbarian as a whole is not in a great spot. So as you'll see, as I put the tier list up on the screen right here, that Barbarian is not in a good spot tier-wise. Now they've got they've got one spec in the B tier, and they've got most of their specs in the C tier. Now I will also link a video to where I got this image from, but if you want to see it for more than a few seconds here, feel free to pause the video and I'll be right back. Anyway, so this tier list. This comes from the Riker. He's a very popular Diablo YouTuber. I will link his channel in the description below. This is where the tier list is from. He does a whole video on it if you guys are curious. But this is for as far as I know, this is the PC tier list. It may vary a little bit from console, but there's a big reason why a lot of specs do poorer on the PS4 and on the Switch and on the Xbox One. And that's because on the PC you have the choice to point and click wherever you'd like. If you want to charge across the screen, you can do that. If you want to cast a fireball over on behind you, you can do that. Now, the problem with the Xbox and all of the other consoles I mentioned is that you don't have that freedom. So when you do, say for example, you're playing Charge Barb, you can just charge in and out, left and right, you know, hitting the charge button, whatever you hotkey do on your Xbox, and it'll go towards the enemies usually. You don't have the freedom to choose, I'm going over here, I'm going left, I'm going right. And this really dampens the Barbarian in a big way, because most of his abilities and most of his specs, you need to choose where you're going. For example, if you're playing Elite Quick Barbarian, you need to click across the screen. If you're playing Charge Barb, you want to click on the enemies you're charging to. If you are going to play Whirlwind, now that's an easy spec, and that's what this gameplay is. Whirlwind is not the hard spec because you get to spin in a circle, but I will get to that. Barbarian as a whole does not have, many good options to play for console. Now, like I said, getting to Whirlwind, which this is really good for console because one, it actually doesn't require a lot of skill. I'm not saying I'm an unskilled player. I'm saying that this is my favorite spec because of the way it plays. But Whirlwind Barb is easy because you get the gear you need, which is not always easy, and you spin like a Beyblade. You let it rip across the screen, and that's pretty much all you need to do. I love Whirlwind Barb. I will fully admit it's a very easy spec to play. All you need to do is time your shouts right, hit your Berserker's Rage, and spin like a Beyblade until you ultimately finish the rift. Now, the problem with this is that Barbarian is dampened by a lot of playstyles. So if you pause or go to the image of the tier list, you'll see that Whirlwind Barb is a C tier build. Still decent. It's better than a lot of the builds on the list, but it's 11 levels behind the Great Rift Max. Keeping in mind this is in PC, so it might be a little higher or lower for Xbox, but there's not really a comprehensive tier list for that. But Barbarian doesn't do good as a whole. If you look at builds that are top, like Condemned, Crusader, or Star Pact Mage, even Pestilence Lancer, those are all good abilities because, for the most part, they all pull from being around enemies. You don't really need to click a lot for Condemn. Literally for Crusader, you hit a button and you kind of let out an AoE blast, almost like a little nuke around you. For Star Pact, I haven't actually personally played Star Pact, but to my understanding, it's almost the same thing. You kind of, with the mage, you point your Archon around and you shoot it, or you shoot out a ball that can go anywhere and do damage. Barbarian isn't that lucky. Now, I said not all the Barbarian builds were high up, except for one, and that's Hammer the Ancient. Now, Hammer the Ancient's raid core, again, is actually, don't be fooled, it's a charge Barbarian build that also includes Hammer the Ancients. It is currently one of the top tier builds for pushing on the PC currently, and overall it does okay. I've played it a couple times, and I can definitely make a video comparing all the specs for Barbarian, which is actually on my to-do list, to show you what the difference is. But as far as it goes, it's another Charge Barbarian build that just adds a little twist to it. Charge Barb does okay on the Xbox. It's not as bad as I'd have you believe. It does okay because you can, in some senses, like in this example you're seeing right here, just charge repeatedly into those enemy groups until you kill them, which is alright. But in a situation where like that, I'm in a longer hallway, I'm going to waste charge or time running down the hallway to try and get in an enemy group. Charge Barb is alright, does okay, but again, going back to Whirlwind, it's almost the better spec to play on the Xbox because you don't lose Fury if geared correctly. You spin around, no problem. You can get armor for spinning and reduce damage by spinning. And if you have the bracers, I'm blank on the name here, Ring of Channeling, you can reduce your cost of all channeled moves, including Whirlwind. So overall, just plays well for Barbarian on the Xbox. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am by no means a pro, not in the slightest. I'm watching off and playing enough Diablo to know what I'm talking about, but as pro players go, I'm not grinding month after month to hit the highest tiers. I'm not going to push, 8 hours a day to get the best gear. I'm a very casual player that likes to study and watch the Diablo scene. So I know that other people are going to come and say, well, but Charge Barb is better and you're just playing wrong, and that's all about Recore, and I'm okay with that. I'm saying personally I can't play them that well, and I'm trying to make a case to show you that I think Whirlwind Barb is the better Barb for the Xbox. Now, Barbarian, again, going back to the beginning of the video title, is not the strongest class on the Xbox. Personally, I believe the Crusader or the Necromancer or the Mage to be the strongest, but that's a topic for another video. The Barbarian does okay currently in the current meta due to the fact that its builds are decent, but it's more of like a pushing build more than a farming build. Each character can gear differently, but the way Barbarian's going is it's more of a pushing build. You'll see in groups, not high in the. But as I've said earlier, Barbarian's my favorite class, and I love playing this class. I love the chaos and fury that it brings, and I will always play Barbarian. That being said, I do have one of every class, and I will be experimenting with the different specs to give you guys a more in-depth video on what my favorite builds are and how the builds compare to each other on the Xbox. Because again, that is primarily the console that I'm playing on, so for the time being, that's where most of these videos will be coming from. Now, like I said earlier in the video, PC may have a different input, and I know people are going to get annoyed and say, well, you need to play on PC. You're very correct. I do have the game. I have Reaper Souls as well, and Necromancer. So I very well could play on the PC. But for the time being, I've got enough games to play that I think I'd rather just play on my Xbox. And I like Diablo 3, don't get me wrong. It's a great game, and I want to do comparisons for you guys. So if you're interested in seeing that, I will definitely make an Xbox versus PC video, and we'll see how the tier spreads out. But for the time being, I think Barbarian on the Xbox will be in an okay spot. It's definitely not the strongest build. It's definitely maybe not even the top 3 classes. That could be up for debate. But right now, the Barbarian is going to be bad. Maybe I shouldn't say bad. It's not going to be great. And there's always people that can play it better and do better, and that's okay. I'm not one of those people. I do my very best and I try, but That's not always the way it works out. So anyway, that's why I think that's why I think there's a problem with Barbarian right now, and maybe I'm wrong. If you guys want to debate that, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear more about it. But for the time being, I think Barbarian will be in a mediocre state, maybe just above mediocre. Um, Next season, you never know with the updates and the way classes and things shake out. Could be different. Now, anyway, back to this gameplay. I was doing okay up until the Rift. I've died way more times than I'd be happy with. And in fact, I'm almost sure I died a couple more times. This is actually a Rift boss I haven't seen in a long time. Rift boss, Rift Guardian, whatever you want to say. Haven't seen this one in a long time. In at least my last, say, 10-15 Rifts. I've mostly just been getting Hamlin, which is quite annoying, but also semi-easy with Rowan Barb. And I wish I recorded my game audio, because there was definitely some choice words being said during this part. I actually didn't believe I was going to time this out. Even watching it back, I'm so surprised I actually timed this out. That's a little spoiler for you. I do time the Rift, just barely. This is not my strongest outing, and like I said in the beginning of the video, my gear's not fully optimized. It could be a lot better, but I actually want to experiment with the other builds. That's why I'm making this video. I would like to check out other builds, give them another shot, and see what I can do. But yes, so my gear is red and broken. Actually, not a great state to be in with a minute left in a Great Rift. I actually wished he would kill me, and it almost did. Almost got away with it there. Does kill me. Kept trying to resurrect in town before I remembered this is not a regular Rift, and you have to teleport back. I got less than a minute left, so pretty scared that I wasn't going to timer it, and was fully prepared to show you guys an L that I take, but that's okay. These things do happen. I'm no pro. Now, I'm hopefully going to try and push into the 80s, but I'm not entirely sure if I have the time to grind it out. I'd like to try and see what I can do. Now, as you guys see, I timed this out with about 40 seconds left. Not my very best. I actually believed I'd time this out with about 3 minutes left. I'm hopefully going to shake it out in the next video and get a bit better with it. But, again, that's how it goes sometimes. The Rift doesn't work out for you. The floor layout's bad. Or sometimes the guy playing is not great. But anyway, that is my Diablo 3 Rift. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm hoping to make more Diablo 3 content for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any comments, leave them in the section below. And I'll talk to you later.